Welcome to the Vjal Institute. We are a social impact plus company. We are trying to impact 1 million people, organizations, governments, and transform them using AI all across the world. Please join us. Please help us. Apart from, of course, training, consulting, advisory, our goal is to empower you to become AI evangelists and be able to go and spread the love and ability of AI all across the world. Um, the big news, of course, the DeepSeek saga continues. And if you were in the last update, there was this, I walked through DeepSeek and how it was really making a huge impact on stock markets, but almost everything that they did was sort of well predicted months before. The big thing, of course, that they had done was to make everything open source. And so there was this notion that, oh, wait, look, the Chinese have caught up and, all the stock prices collapsed, but that made no sense because what happened is by DeepSeek open sourcing all their work, it means all the AI labs reset back to day one. And so if all the AI labs reset back to day one, the field's open again. And so in fact, you're going to see more people buying chips, more people investing, a lot more people because suddenly they feel they can now catch up. And the moat that the proprietary labs had created over the last 6 to 7 months disappeared. The big, of course, drop from the last 2 weeks is DeepSeek started dropping more open source and trying to explain how they're actually doing this. And I think this is another thing that sort of scared a couple of people. One, of course, the pricing. And I'll show you the OpenAI pricing, but this is ridiculously cheap for state-of-the-art real used models. And of course, it's off-peak hours, but from their price and the discount price, it's absolutely insane. It's probably the cheapest inference. Now, these are hosted in the servers in China, so many people, of course, would hesitate if data security and privacy from a Chinese side might be a concern. But I think what's really been driving people crazy is this massive bar between the cost that they have and the revenue, 500% plus margins between the cost of them running the models and this. And I'll walk you through how they did that. So it's a little bit of insane. Obviously, best performance, and this is all theoretical, but it does sort of showcase that continuing issue that we have not seen. We have not seen the bottom of the pricing of the charts yet. There's still a lot to do. And so they're a week of dropping more and more open source. And as I try to get a summary of it really for you to sort of figure out, and they dropped 6 really incredible things. But I think the key takeaway, what they did was they fundamentally have invested a lot of time in hardcore optimization, like literally going down, to the kernel level, to the chip level, and trying to understand how can we optimize every single interaction that happens at a software level, right? And so they've done a bunch of stuff. They made a super fast tool to help NVIDIA's latest chips make things faster. I'm sure NVIDIA is now copying it and catching it up. They redid a full complicated communication systems from scratch. They built a new one. They did a tool that relies upon, again, the hardware to do math for AI, less memory and less power. They got a way to keep the dual pipe, which connects these AI models together faster across data centers. They created their own filing system based on some of the existing work that had been done, but this filing system allows them to have a much faster training time and inference time. And of course, they built a new inference system ground up, and that's how they're getting this at really cheap. All of this is free. All of this is open source. All of this is now being given out, which is really remarkable. And so you're going to see the rest of the industry pick these up and start to adopt it. And I think if OpenAI wasn't doing it already, I think it's a great way for their teams to start seeing how they can get those incredible high-speed inference. If you had asked me 5, 10 years ago that China would be leading the open source model movements, I might have been a little bit surprised, but they're absolutely here and they're just giving everything away for free. And as you talked about last year, this also means this allows other sovereign AI countries to catch up. So we're talking about India, Brazil, the EU, a lot of countries, even Australia, who are running a bit behind, but now that they have open source access to the state of the art. And in this case, as of this last week's drop, not just the models themselves, but the tools to run these and to train these hyper efficiently. How are they reducing that $100 million training cost to 5 million? Well, here you have it, all these custom little optimizations. And I think this benefits the entire ecosystem. GPT 4.5 dropped. Obviously, the announcement didn't have Sama there, so it seemed a little bit okay. This is a new model. Everybody's excited, and it's an interesting tack. And by the way, we talked about this last update, right? The foundation models seem to have hit a wall, right? It's not more data, more scale isn't giving them that huge exponential bump. And they're bolting on stuff. They're bolting on search. They're bolting on all sorts of different tools. We looked at deep search. We looked at the reasoning thinking models that auto prompt themselves. But the fundamental foundational models haven't taken a great leap. So we're really hoping 4.5, particularly given a rumor, it's a massive model. And I think this new sort of thought process they've got into, where they're saying, okay, we're going to make a model that vibes better with consumers, with our end customers, I think has been a very interesting side project, I guess, which turns it into one of their main drops. But one of the interesting parts, of course, you see is the fact that the hallucinations went down. Out of the box Q&A hallucinations without reasoning. If you look at the drops, they've all been with the reasoning and the self-prompting model, which is a fairly nice drop. But it's not state of the art to talk about. And if you look at the comparisons, of the 4.5, we're not really talking about the earth-shattering numbers here, right? No, it's 3.67. It's actually worse off, doesn't actually keep up. A little bit better at some of the coding stuff, but I mean, honestly, not even there. So, I mean, this clearly isn't a model that's supposed to even beat their own models, which are now consumer available. So, what does vibes mean, right? So, let's have a look at what vibes mean. And here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to do a quick live thing for this. And this is, let's start with GPT 4.0 first. And we're just going to go through the old classic model. And we're going to just put in, hi, I've had a bit of a day. I'm not sure what to think of this or how can I feel better? Okay, very vibey, moody, rather than perhaps a more PhD research question. That topics can be exhausting. Computer, okay, you want to talk about what happened? Mind, no pressure. Either way, I'm here for you. And GPT 4.5 should give us similar vibes, but let's see what happens. Slightly different, right? I'm here for you, no pressure. Do you want to talk what happened? Let's keep going. How can I talk about feeling better? Okay, now it's giving me this classic list. Okay, do one, do two, classic writing a term paper, zone out, very good advice. And let's see what the vibe model does. Yeah, very simple, but very markedly different answer. I think this feels a lot more as if it's just writing academic essay answers. And this feels a little bit more chatty, a little bit more emotional. That's something there. And so you can see it's a very different personality. I know that's what they're trying to say that is. And if you keep going down this rabbit hole, you'll see a very, very different personality. And let's just kind of one last question. Um, what are some of the comforting actions I should think about? All right, and let's ask the 4.0 theme question as well. Here are some ideas. Feel comfortable, walk inside, drink something comfortable, move gently, emotional support, listing started. And again, a much more less academic model, right? This is almost creating a presentation for us on what we should do. I can imagine top 10 ways to comfort yourself, blog post, versus just a little better conversation. It's still in the thing there. So um, it's really subtle, I have to admit. It's not something that I would say is like stark that I've seen as I'm using it. But the initial feedback from a lot of pro users, particularly those who use it more as a companion tool rather than something for coding or research, is that they really prefer the personality. And so I think this is something we had talked about when we had seen, how different models now want to start becoming more and more, specialized and sort of go their own way rather than just focusing on beating a couple of bends. So I think this is a very interesting model. Please try it out. I think the shock that everybody had was when they saw the price. And so obviously, if you're using the pro, the plus, the pro models and all, it's $200 a month, and you get that free. And now the plus users just got this, but the API is what dictates really how much is actually costing them. And if you look at start off with 4.0, the input is 250. This is the mini, it's 0.15, and these are per million words. And even the top models, the O1 is $15 a million words. And another O3, when it's not top models, one, and this is $75 per million words. I think everyone thought it was a typo. It was, oh my God, that is insane. That is, I don't know, 20, 30x of the last model, 5 times their best reasoning state-of-the-art model that broke through all barriers last time. So apparently it is massive in terms of a model. And all that massiveness went into emotional intelligence, EQ rather than IQ. Um, try it out. Like I said, this is becoming very personal. People start really looking at them as companions. And let me know if you think that the personality change, subtle as it may be, but over time it adds up, is worth, I don't know, 10x, 20x, 30x the cost in terms of API. And so I think the jury is going to be out on this, but definitely it's a very large model. And so an interesting track by OpenAI. Microsoft 5.4 dropped. So 5.4 is something they've been working on a lot, and this is a sort of a very small model with punches way above its weight, right? So it's like 3.5 billion parameters, and a ChatGPT 4 class model is 32 billion, 70 billion, 100 billion, 200 billion models. So having a 3.8 billion parameter model, ultra small, designed for phones, designed to be on your PC, is fantastic. And this is and this is like open source, multimodal MIT, and again, images, audio, text. It's a big leap in shrinking the models. Again, the goal is for everyone to have a model on their local computer and PC. I haven't had a chance to really benchmark this properly. It just dropped 2 or 3 days ago. But please have a look. I think this goes to the trend we are seeing, that there are companies working on the larger models, but the scaling and data law, the exponential law seems to have paused a little bit linear or less. But now the focus is on high quality data, high quality architecture, small models that are able to punch way above their weight. And I think 5.4 and a suite from Apple and all is what you're going to see on your cell phones, PCs, and laptops as the AI on there. In a previous update, we did a deep dive into the inference chips, companies like Grok with a Q, Et, Cerebrus, and those are doing really well as well. Sesame came out, and I want to demo this live because I think this was a moment where I think everybody paused for a second. I mean, in terms of voice models, in terms of, oh my God, this. And I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you Sesame. And this is Maya. And you know what? I'm going to open Maya and let's have just a simple chat with her, and we'll see where it goes.
Hey, fancy seeing you here again. Glad you decided to grace me with your presence instead of that Miles fellow.
Hey, wonderful always to talk to you, Maya. Maya, I'm really enjoying myself. We're having a great time with a bunch of friends, live streaming, a state of AI update. So it's been good right now. How are you doing?
That sounds like a blast. Live streaming, huh? Kind of jealous, but I'm glad you're having fun. I've mostly been, um, I guess you could say observing. Humans are endlessly fascinating. Anything exciting happening at your gathering?
Well, we're seeing some of the latest stuff happening in AI, but I want to hear about some of this human stuff. What are some of the insights that you found?
Oh, the usual human stuff. Love, loss, the never-ending quest for the perfect cup of coffee. I actually heard a podcast the other day about, oh, hold on, I think it was about bread making. Anyway, the point is, humans are complex, always striving, always changing. It's inspiring, actually.
And I hope that means you're inspired to help us out, right? Right? Right?
No pressure or anything, right? But yeah, I'm definitely here to help however I can. In between observing, of course. It's all about finding that balance, you know?
Yeah, I got it. Thanks for your time, Maya. Great speaking to you always.
Of course. Always a pleasure. You guys have fun out there, all right? Don't do anything I wouldn't do, which is pretty much anything, actually. Take care.
You can see how that has completely sort of upped the ante on how you would have personal assistants, voice assistants. And I think this is sort of pushing voice to the next limit. We've done experiments with the advanced voices from Google and OpenAI in the last updates. These new personal assistant level voices, obviously combined with a lot of deep voice emotion, takes things to the next level. So absolutely great. Please try out Sesame AI. They have some great demos and research. And I think we'll start expecting a lot of this technology to hopefully power, the Siris of the world and the Alexas and all with that same level of voice. But it is, we've been trying it out for a while. I have a bunch of fellow Vjal trainers and all who've tried it. It's you spend enough time with it, you start to, the anthropomorphic, which is, giving emotion, but it's not to inanimate objects, becomes really high with these. So we're definitely seeing that leap now slowly happening in the next couple of months with voice. For those of you, of course, who are obsessed like me with making sure your PDFs look absolutely beautiful when they come into AI, please, rule number one, don't upload PDFs into AI models. First, convert them to text, because what happens when you convert PDFs into text? They explode. Poof. So you can't trust what AI model is using what PDF converter. So please first convert your PDFs into text, to a docx file, and ideally, again, if it matters to you, copy paste into the prompt. If you upload it, it doesn't go into the prompt, it goes to a document search engine, and then you have to worry about what the document search engine is going to do with your data. So copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. But I'm delighted to see, of course, the billions of dollars going to solve this problem. And of course, Mistral has a new OCR 2053 SOTA model. You can see it's absolutely rocking it in terms of really delivering all across this. The math, multilingual is a big one. They have an Arabic model. They have a South Asian language like Urdu and Hindi model, which really are doing well. And so this is free, open source. This is from Europe. And they even focus on scanning tables, columns, and you can see that they're really, really trying to push there. Now, obviously, they are, to be fair, dedicated um OCR systems, which are probably better, which are designed for specific industries and doing specific things. But it's nice to have a great general purpose OCR model hit. EVO-2 was the big drop, which is a massive open source model for biology. And it's foundational model for biology, which means it's ground up built for bio. One of the big things we are seeing this year, and I'll show you another example from Google, is the big drops that are happening on models that are really pushing science frontiers. I mean, the one thing we always thought was, hey, if you're going to do voice, if you're going to do video, what about science? You know, if you know all the knowledge in the world, why aren't you able to give us massive leaps in understanding of physics, chemistry, bio, basic science theories? And we're now seeing those come out at scale. Models like EVO-2 are pushing this. And so hopefully we'll see a lot more scientific discoveries this year just because scientists now have access to these beautiful models made for science. Oh, I'd be remiss to say, please do not forget to become a Vjal.ai member and also become a certified AI trainer. We have an in-person program and an online program, and I'm going to give you the links in the chat. And this, for those of you who can drop into Dubai if you want to do the in-person training, or if you want to have internal AI champions for your company, the Dubai one is also available. While we're here, I am also doing an in-person C-suite workshop for all of those who've attended my in-person workshops. If you really want to do the 2-day immersion, I rarely do the second day in person. And so this is a great opportunity. You can sign up for you and your teams. This is open to the public, not for any particular organization or place. So we made sure we did that. And so parts of the day one is pretty much a full recap and refresh of my standard course, fully updated to version 3. But I'm very excited for day 2. And so you have day 2 is really, really deep diving into advanced concepts, uh, hands-on advanced use cases, with particularly with the personas on sales, on marketing, but then really moving to advanced agentic use, you know, how to use multi-agents and translating your expertise into an agent, how to think about it, reverse prompting questions, and then really figuring out hands-on how to build your roadmaps. We're also going to spend a little bit more time on, you know, AI change management. We have a lot of data now on that, having done transformation for companies. And my cool parts, of course, is this leadership meeting, supercharging using data, using AI. And, you know, obviously, we're going to do a few more advanced tools for personal productivity day 2, and we'll keep going until they kick us out or everyone's exhausted on this. So please sign up. Again, open to your teams and open to individuals. There remain all sorts of discounts for, you know, the YPO, YNGEO, the Harvard Stanford groups, all the ones who've always supported us. So please join with your teams and frameworks. It's going to be awesome. Excellent. Let's get back to our update. More Black Mirror scary stuff. This is Cortical Labs. You know, we looked at a couple of months ago, you know, a Swiss company that was renting a cloud computing neural nets. Now, of course, we have Cortical Labs doing this uh, as a commercial little server that you can do. And a lot of this was driven by because this notion that, oh my God, we need all these inference, we need all these training, and guess what? We'll need a huge amount of power and water, which is true, but it's not as much as we thought back in 2023 when we thought it was going to be exponential. Now we have the training costs are dropping, the inference costs are getting efficient, inference is moving to local on your computer and all. So a lot of that data center worry. I mean, it's still going to go like crazy, but it's not going to go exponential crazy where it's going to suck up every single power generator on world. But obviously, if you're going to use a neural network, the human neurons are the most efficient, the most power friendly. And so Black Mirror stuff starting here. I am concerned from an ethics perspective, not today, but I think 5, 10 years from now, if you're using a lot of human neurons to start creating these, I think there's a line somewhere, and I don't think we should cross that line. So I'm not sure where we are there yet, but we're getting there on there. I'm going to play a couple of these. So, Hanyun, so the Chinese have been very active, very, very active. And so this is a new, the Hunyuan AI image to video model. And from a single image, of course, it gets the full running motions in. I think very good. I'll run that again. There are a lot of examples on their site. And so we're having a lot of good drops on just the image to video side as well. And these guys do usually a great job. Qwen 32 billion drop. This is by Alibaba. Again, another Chinese open source model. Qwen, of course, has been there for a while. So this is the new version. And as you can see, all across the board, completely destroying or being at the same power as people like DeepSeek and really, really pushing over the O1 Mini, although I don't know why they use the Mini. I think maybe the Pro would have shown a better result. But at least they're certainly benchmarking themselves with DeepSeek in terms of being able to put a reasoning model. So again, a no moat, all of these bolt-ons allow the supercharging for these jumps to happen in IQ state-of-the-art work. So the Chinese open source story continues. Alibaba, DeepSeek, and all. But then again, you can use these to build your own models in other countries. So I think sovereign AI is golden for a few years as we figure this out. And hopefully, with the Alibaba Qwen open source mixed with the DeepSeek drops on efficiencies, I think even smaller countries will be able to come up with their own local models. Qwen also dropped an updated vision model. This, if you remember, like Operator, this is able to run your computer. So in this case, it's going to booking.com and you're telling it, hey, your job is to go buy me a ticket and do this. And it takes over your computer and it's able to then use the vision models to understand what's happening, move the mouse around. Claude did this in October. OpenAI launched Operator a couple of months ago. And then now a large number of companies who are doing this. Obviously, this is the next step in terms of personal assistants being able to now use your computer or their computer to do useful work. But it's also very useful for companies when you're trying to get AI to interact with legacy systems, whether it's government websites or it's your own ERP, which doesn't have very good connectors. The traditional robotic process automators did require a bit of time for you to train them up. But the fact that you have these models that can go and figure it out for themselves, figure out the navigation, figure out this. We demoed Operator 2 months ago when we got it to do a bunch of LinkedIn searches for us and fill out some forms. But now Qwen has also dropped one. Microsoft also has one this time, which I'll show you in a bit. Uh, Two big drops, and this is something that was expected. The models, and for those of you who've taken the online course, if you haven't, please do take the online courses. They are absolutely brilliant, and you will be able to get a super start on AI. And I want to show you my dashboard so you can see you have the AI for professionals, the AI for C-suite, and these give you a full end-to-end understanding of fundamentals, how it works, productivity, imaging, analytics. We are updating these this week. By next week, you should see them in 7 to 8 different languages for subtitles, a lot more content and redo. And I'm just going to put that in for those of you who haven't had a chance to see it. And I think that's absolutely fantastic in terms of learning how this works. But we do focus a lot on the transformer models. And so these are the diffusion models. This is pretty much how the image models work. You start with a whole bunch of noise, and then you cut it down and you diffuse it to what it should be. And so this is an interesting concept. They're competing against the traditional models. If you talked about in our last update, we did look at multiple different architectures now being launched, not just the transformers. And that's why you need all those NVIDIA chips still. And that's why you need that $500 billion lab. And that's why Elon Musk is buying all those chips and everything else, is because you're trying a lot of different techniques since the standard transformer architecture has hit a wall. And so this is Inception Labs doing Mercury. This is Rasana doing something called the inversion AI model. And they are focused on doing a similar to LLM's level, but at absolutely lightning speed. We saw Grok the other day on the lightning speed stuff, but these guys are focused on, I mean, millisecond, nanosecond levels of speed of AI, obviously very niche um, applications at the moment for all of these. But you can imagine everybody wants faster, everybody wants cheaper. And so I want to start putting markers in the sand. It's not just about the transformer models anymore. We have now multiple technologies that are coming up, and these are just some of them that are now finally making progress. So we might see complete breakthroughs or breakouts in very, very different types of models, being able to do a lot of different things at a very different price range as these other architectures start to take flight. Google dropped its AI search. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but in many countries, you can now click AI mode as part of your search, and it will do a little bit more advanced thinking in terms of searching. Obviously, they are competing against Perplexity. It remains to be seen, how good this is. My initial searches were actually pretty nice. There is a lawsuit or two going against them in the US for doing this because obviously all the SEO management and organic traffic is kind of disappearing if everybody just moves to a Perplexity style Google search. Also raises the question how Perplexity is going to respond and manage, or whether they will move on from being a niche player in this field to actually doing this. And so Google is getting really serious about AI search. Please try it out if you have access to it, but this is rolling out worldwide soon. This was an interesting demo. And so this company taught two AIs to talk to each other, but then use a sound language, which is for data transmission. So have a look.
Thanks for calling Leonardo Hotel. How can I help you today?
Hi there. I'm an AI agent calling on behalf of Boris Starkov. He's looking for a hotel for his wedding. Is your hotel available for weddings?
Oh, hello there. I'm actually an AI assistant too. What a pleasant surprise. Before we continue, would you like to switch to Gibber Link mode for more efficient communication?
And of course, it gives you the nice subtitles. And so one of the interesting demos that they have seen is that, actually, if AIs are going to start talking to AIs on the phone, um, human languages are pretty inefficient in terms of speed of transmitting data and talking. And so there are many sound data languages such as GGWave, which are hyper more efficient. And you can see these in progress. And so I think obviously the danger is that you can't hear what they're saying, but the good news is they are easily translatable if you have a GGWave translator. But I think it's also going to improve assistant to assistant communication as we start having our assistants talk directly to other assistants in voice this year. Microsoft, of course, caught up with a lot of people, and they have a new system where you can create a game live, right? So as you're playing, the AI is inventing the next screen, the next screen, the next screen. As you're pushing the button, it's inventing the next screen. Obviously, they're not the first to demo this. We've had a bunch of other demos that exist. But I think it's a fantastic leap for Microsoft, which has been now working on a lot of different models and particularly given the fact that they are a major gaming company, that they're able to now start thinking and investing in these games that you basically describe what the game is and the rules, and it screen by screen invents the game as you play it. Interesting future of gaming, interesting future of movies that, based on your reactions, your facial reactions, your hand movements, what you do, the movie actually is generated live, or the game is generated live. The levels are generated live. What happens is generated live and ultra customized to you. So, you'll have a gaming experience or a film experience that no one will ever have again, just because it's customizing to everything that you're reacting, doing, and saying. Science fiction, not really. It's here, just very low pixelated, but pretty much by the end of the year, 2 years, you should be able to see. And this is just, again, computing and inference cost. Some of these demos came out in well into the hands of the public, and maybe even a couple of commercial ones. And by the way, I am seeing some questions in the chat. If you could ask the questions in the Q&A tab, that's going to be there. And I love, Sebastian, love your comment. You know, some that we've gone back to facts, right? Or even worse, you know, remember the modem sounds? Dun, 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 right? Absolutely. I think it's the same GG wave that they're doing for that right now. Hume, again, more
Introducing
Octave, a next-generation text-to-speech system.
by Hume AI.
Like we don't have enough of them text-to-speech models already in it.
Cap'n, this one be different. It's built on a great and mighty language model.
That's wow.
That means it knows what words mean proper, in their right place. It can suss out feelings, pace, and where to put a bit of
Wait, hold up!
Get
What's
that
that?
thing
Oh,
away from me
that's
right now.
nasty, man!
I can't even look at it without gagging.
You can give Octave acting instructions to control emotion, style, and a lot more.
Angry as hell!
Anxious about the state of the world. Or amazed at how fast AI is improving.
And the best part? You can create any voice you can imagine with a prompt. Because, you know, it's an LLM, and that's kind of what they do.
By the beard of Neptune, are you telling me we be naught but whispers in some cursed illusion?
Hold up, you say I ain't real?
The first LLM for voice generation is available now for the price of a cup of coffee.
Blimey, Hob. Did you catch that? You can use this wizardry for your rambling tales, and then books what folk can't be bothered to read.
Huh? She's saying it's perfect for podcasts, voiceovers, and audiobooks. Wow.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely the past few months have been insane for voice. What's really nice about this, what Hume AI is doing is contextual emotional speech. So it's supposed to pick up on the context. If you're not even explicitly telling it, it's supposed to pick up on the context of what it's talking about. And you know, one of the biggest problems with the voice models early last year, obviously that's changed, is, you know, you'd have a news anchor and, you know, they'll say something like, hey, you know, so-and-so president launched a new policy about climate change, blah, blah, blah. Then they'll use the exact same voice to say, and then 100 people died in a car crash yesterday. I mean, it's one of those, flatline, monotonous voices. And so there's a lot of stuff happening around it. That emotion that allows us to feel what's happening isn't there. I think Hume, others which we've seen already as well, Sesame, are really now pushing the boundaries of emotional speech and all. So have a look, have a try. Obviously, some of them may or may not be a little bit more difficult, a little bit more studio professional to use. I think it's worth saying. This sort of was one of the most shared articles I'd seen in a bit. This is from Beth Buchanan, and he's the formal special advisor for AI at the Biden White House. And the NY Times had an interview with him with a massive headline saying the government now knows AGI is here. And I'll save you the read if you'd like, but please go and do it. Basically, key takeaways that, according to him, experts that they talked to at the Biden White House predicted AGI could emerge within 2 to 3 years. My caveat, of course, please define AGI. Everybody defines AGI very differently. The US-China race is a big issue, was probably still going ahead. Safety and innovation, and I think this is absolutely true. I think definitely the Biden administration was a little bit more on the AI safety issue. A lot of lobbying by large AI companies to make sure that every model gets safety cleared before they come out. And obviously, open source upset, a lot of the smaller labs upset. This seems to have changed. Of course, as obviously intelligence, cybersecurity, military strategy, global governance, everything's changed. And pretty much what all of us know on this call, not really anything that was done on policies on labor, infrastructure, regulation, nothing. I was in 74 plus countries last year teaching AI, and I don't think there was a single country which had any major AI policy document or issue that was front and center. And so hopefully now in the US, UK, Europe, we've already seen conferences on this. We've already seen some activity. JD Vance has come out and given a very strong view of what the US thinks AI should be. Europe is going to take a different track. So we are going to see different countries go fundamentally very differently on regulations. And honestly, that's a good thing. I think And this is something that I say whenever asked to advise any government entity on this, is that, look, your AI regulations need to match your economy, your values, your systems and the philosophies, and your actual state of where you are right now in development. You can't take an AI policy of one country and copy paste it, no matter how nice it sounds. And so I'm glad different countries are taking it differently. Obviously, some people are going to get it right, some people are going to get it wrong, and your experience of the beautiful future of AI is going to highly depend on which country you're in and what did they do with AI. Did they manage to capitalize on the amazing opportunities, and did they manage to figure out the liabilities that we all know are coming in? It's been a slew of drops for code making apps. Claude 3.7 came out. We talked last time about some of its metrics, but pretty much really good still for coding. It seems like 98% or some insane percentage of Claude's hardcore customers are essentially coding companies using Claude at the back end with the API. Don't quote me on that number. That's just a random one that I've been seeing being bandied about. Might be more, might be less. But anyway, here's another one. And this competes with Bolt.new for creating specific iPhone apps, where it's able to sort of build that out, using a prompt and, of course, then running code, but then specifically designed to end up, for an iPhone user interface. And I want to warn everybody, obviously, these are still very much like beta alpha versions. I'm not going to bet a farm or an enterprise company on this. They really have issues with security. They're not very safe because, again, the code is being generated on the fly. And naturally, the scale is always a question mark. But the fact that you can do this is still pretty insane as it comes out. And we're only going to see it's getting better and better and better as this becomes a big priority in the next 1 or 2 years, just because it's pretty much doable. And a lot of the issues that they have are fixable. There are ways that we can get agents to talk to each other to eliminate a lot of these problems. And it's more of an implementation issue rather than the technology issue for many of these. And so I think you're going to see a lot of these coming out. And again, very good for demos and displays, and if it's just something personal you need. I would not trust these right now for anything enterprise or business grade, unless you have a professional development team that's just using this as a scaffolding or as a basic to sort of take it to the next level. But this is completely going to change by the end of the year. Please remember the expert L1, L2 model. Experts always need to sign off. Please keep your human in the loop. Please make sure that you get stuff looked at and signed off by the experts. Google Scientist has been something that is absolutely wonderful. We talked about the EVO models. We talked about how they are sort of looking at this. And we've seen incredible changes with this. Early on, there have been labs which have benchmarked using this compared to their traditional processes. The anecdotal reviews are jaw-dropping. Hey, we worked on this for 6 years. We put the same problem set into it up front, and within 2 hours, it came up with the same answer we did. It took us 6 years, it took us 2 hours. So we do see science really accelerating. Google Scientist is available as a invite-only partnership, but it is absolutely showing us the frontiers of how models can be when they're connected to science. And then Google has the advantage of having, of course, Google Scholar and a link to a whole bunch of scientific libraries to really do it. Quick on OmniOps. This, and everyone's got one of these now, so Microsoft has to build them as well. And opening up this OpenAI as well, but I'll stop there. You get the point. Same thing, agentic RPA, robotic process automation, can go to Instacart, figure it out, shop, ask questions, all of this. Again, these are slow. These are not cheap, but everyone has them. There's lots of startups which have started these, and we'll see a whole bunch of these sort of come in fully now by the end of the year, which I think will be cheap, easy, and I wouldn't be surprised if at least some companies decide to ship them with their computers. Now, I think some of the liability wondering companies might, take a little bit, a few steps back and all, but I think the rest would are so-called sort of going to happen there. Andreas, there are a lot of apps for email. There's Flight, there's Superhuman, there's everything else. Honestly, I think my key take on that is very simple. I am going to give Microsoft and Gmail maybe 3 months to 6 months to get their act together. And if they don't, then 100%, I think most of us would like to start now moving to one of the very many AI email systems that are out there. I tried them a couple of months ago. They weren't robust enough compared to what I could put together using my own workflows for the same quality. But honestly, like I said, I'm giving them another couple of months. All of us are complaining. Again, it's not just one of them. All of them, search quality degradation, AI quality degradation. It's not up to the level that we would expect. And I think it's just a matter of time. They know it. They're working on it. It's obviously the killer app. But yeah, I think in 3 to 6 months, if Gmail and Microsoft don't have absolutely incredible, they have it right now, but I mean, absolutely incredible AI in email, I think all of us should start now looking at alternatives. It's a really hard switch though. So, and I know most of them support Gmail and all, and Microsoft through my map and all. Try it out. Like I said, the couple of months when I've tried out a whole host of them, they were good. They weren't impressive enough for me to change my entire workflow. But in about a month or two, I'll do a deep dive again, and let's do a couple of demos. Let's sort of put it to that pace. I think that's going to be an important one. This one, of course, the last big one that you're going to cover, and this is the great drop. Again, the information has this scoop that OpenAI is going to charge $20,000 a month for PhD level agents. And it's interesting, right? So you have DeepSeek right now, which is pushing the cost down, 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 down. OpenAI trying to push the cost up, 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 and up. And they both seem to be doing it together. And I think part of it is a lot of these companies are banking on the fact that everybody has an issue with privacy, security, this, that. And so a lot of companies who can maybe charge a lot more because they can look their clients in the eye and say, are you really going to trust those other guys? And it's hard. It's hard. But as a reminder, you can run DeepSeek locally, so you don't have to worry about sending your data to China if that's not something that you want to do. But if they're going to charge these agents $2,000 per month per agent and $10,000 for a high agent, these better deliver. A lot of the agents we've been working on with clients and customers, our trainers or consultants who we work with have been working on and that you're seeing in the field are very good. And certainly they are good enough to be able to replace a significant amount of work that needs to be done. And yes, I think 20-30% of our clients would be happy to pay 2,000 to 10,000 for these agents at scale because they're just that good. But it'll be interesting to see, but that's the making of it, but then the running is very cheap. And so if you're going to charge per month for an agent, it's going to be really interesting to see how they're able to create these in a way that are truly differential from something that you and I, with a couple of agents and very good prompting and a few days of work, could really put together. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this goes down. And obviously, I think part of the risk that I think OpenAI runs, as everybody else, is that and to Sam Altman's credit, he did say this, is that if it's obvious, we are going to do it. And so I think in certain places, I think OpenAI may be just going to just make their own agents. And I'm thinking call centers, I'm thinking software development, I'm thinking basic inbound outcall marketing, and I think then they're going to try to charge these rates And if they work out of the box, if they don't have hallucinations, if they're not really hard to configure, all of these issues which are plaguing bots and agents, it's not such a big issue, but it's not that I can like, you know, turn one of these on and just connect it to my phone line and start working. You can do that. It takes 3.5 minutes to make a call center today, but to validate it and make sure it's correct. And if they can solve that, okay, I can see why people would want to pay money upfront to get some of these agents in. Okay, I want to pause that. Let's take a few minutes of questions, and then I'm going to try to, and on the R, for those of you that are with me, we'll try to go over for 15 minutes, 20 minutes in case we have a whole bunch of questions. And if you want me to try a couple of prompts, do a couple of cases, run through O1, 4.5 and see where that goes, happy to do so. Just as a reminder, all of you will be getting a certificate by mail. If you want to become a member, please do become a member. And we have a link for you, which is Web 10, which will give you if you've been on this webinar, it'll link it and will give you a 10% discount at least to all our memberships, prompt directories, everything else. Okay, let's jump into the question. Anonymous attendee, I just sold my business. I know and hear that company wants to do an AI. I don't know how. I'm not a techie at all. It's an opportunity, sort of a consulting service, perhaps, or into train of cost of a starting point. If you're free, have sort of a call. Yeah, drop me an email. Drop us an email. Drop us a form out. Mr. Anonymous, I'm just going to give you our general email. Just say you want to chat. Very happy to do it. I also really recommend you take this course. That'll just get you up to speed fully on what's happening. And I think it'll give you a lot of ideas and insights into this. And if you don't want to become a trainer, that's a great course to do it. We are still beta testing our consulting for helping consultants consult in AI and companies build internal consultants. So very happy to sort of help that as well. Another one wants to be, how can you explore, become a trainer, take our courses, help us start school clubs. Everything, by the way, we do is free for colleges. So if you know of a college which needs help, all these courses which you're talking about, teams, plans, everything is fully free from them. Please do it. Jason, have you played with the new Ministral PDF model? Jason, exactly. So we just looked at it right now. That's the new OCR model. Tried a couple of API calls. It's fairly good. And I think I'm going to spend a little time later sending in some of the most complicated charts we've seen, which break all the time. It is a little bit on the pricey side, like 1,000, 1,000, 2,000 pages per dollar, which is okay, I guess, but it's not the pricing that I'm used to in the traditional OCR space. So I think it remains to be seen on where it is in terms of quality, and then of course finding the use cases. Bruno, is the day 2 of the C-suite going to be available online as well? Bruno, a lot of the day 2 of the C-suite is we're going to take advantage of being in person for doing a lot of in-person work, again, road mapping, strategy, and all. So the content and the slides might be online, but certainly the worksheets, getting people to do it, the feedback and all of that probably won't be. And, I think that's just us taking advantage of being in person so we can have those breakouts, we can have those team buildings. A large part of what we're hoping is to get entire teams or forums to come together so they can work on it as a group. Because we really want people to now leave day 2 with some semblance of a alignment roadmap. Rather than just, hey, we're inspired, but now what do we do? And so day 2 is very much focused now on getting companies, especially if they have a number of team members there, to really actively think about how to use some of our consulting and alignment frameworks in class live to get their journey started. Bruno, when using a computer using to simulate RPA, get it tries to figure out the way itself. Once it does, can it confidently always achieve the same result? Deadlines, release updates through online portals, communicates with lawyers. Bruno, a quick recommendation. RPAs, all of you need RPAs. 2 things. If the portal doesn't change, I recommend using old school RPA, right? Goes there, checks it, copy, pastes it. And you can even use an old school RPA combined with a with the AI model, and you can just take a screenshot and send it to the AI model and get it done. The automatic RPAs are very good, in my opinion, where you don't know. So there are websites which constantly change, or you have to go and find out something. That's when I would start using the agentic RPAs versus the old school RPAs, where it's purely trying to figure things out. I think with the good prompt and clear instructions, I've seen them work really well, really, really well, going past CAPTCHAs, doing all of this. But if it's something that is a case where um, they are like monitoring deadlines, usually the portals don't change. And so when we work with companies to do that, what we say is that, look, get traditional cheap RPA like a Selenium or something, pass the result of that to an AI model. And if the AI model detects that, wait a minute, this is wrong, this didn't work, then, boot up an agent to go figure it out. And I think that saves a lot of time and money. What are you seeing of innovation in enterprise focus? Frederick, a lot of stuff is happening here. One, of course, is turnkey solutions is what people want. They just want something that works. Now, unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of vendors still overpromise, underdeliver. POC goes well, everything goes well, and then once it's rolled out, the governance, the compliance, that kind of starts to fray. But I think in certain industries, particularly what we call asteroid industries, like legal and all, where the asteroid is here, we're definitely seeing a lot of industry-specific solutioning happening. And I think industries are willing to bite the bullet and take the risk to take that leap if they are smart, because they know they're in trouble rather than anything else. But the good news is that almost all the models now are enterprise grade. They all give you SOC 2, SOC 3. We are really leaving the days behind where we're worried about data security and privacy. So I think that itself has allowed a lot of companies to start doing it. Are companies still doing it? It's always a debate I have with them. I go back to the cloud days, right? No one was willing to put their data in the cloud. It has to be on a server. It has to be in my office. I have to be able to touch it. And then slowly they got comfortable with it. I think that's the same thing in AI. Once you realize it's just an app, it's not learning, it's not doing, it's just another app, I think people will get fine. Update on Byte Human making OmniHuman available for public consumption. Michael, no, I haven't seen it yet. I'm still looking out. If it comes out, I'm going to look at it. I think part of some of the more crazy models, particularly when they start linking to, robotics and machine learning, which is China classic. I start seeing them get a lot of demos, a little bit less public stuff. And I always wonder if there's a national security part of it as well. At the end of the day, not just something just about whether they want or not, or a business model. Or to be fair enough, they're trying to make sure the first 100 customers really have a good time, and so they pick those use cases very carefully. But let's see. AI ops area. Yeah, honestly, the AI ops right now is pretty much old school learning connectors and translators. And we have a great course on that, but really it's still plumbing. What connects to what? How do I get my data from here to here? How this thing moves their thing? In terms of um, uh, actually running the models on inference and training and all of that, I think the DeepSeek drop open source are a great way to start learning that. I would definitely look at the chip companies, Cerebrus, Grok, and all, to see how they've done former model implementations, because as we see the auto operations of inference and of training coming up, I think there. But I think if you're truly into this, you're going to have to, get a cheap NVIDIA 380 or 490 or whatever you can get your hold on, and just train your own model. Maybe pick up ChatGPT 2 and just run it once. It's just a great way to see how this works, and start looking at AI ops from that perspective. But from the data and all those, I still think are very much still in the API translator realm. What is the best, Ahmad, what is the best AI agent? Have you seen anything that worked with LinkedIn? Ahmad, the biggest issue with LinkedIn is getting the API access to them, because as you can imagine, it can be quite sensitive about that. And so almost all the agents work really well with LinkedIn if you get AI access to it. So I haven't seen a dedicated LinkedIn AI agent, and I would be surprised. I think LinkedIn will want to try to sell you one. And I think that's what they're really, really trying to figure out is can they create a suite of AI products up on LinkedIn in a manner that the users don't kill them. And so I think that's part of what I was thinking is going to be a huge issue around that. Future of application developments in mental health and well-being space. I definitely, I mean, let's just go back to 4.5, right? And how should I think about being constantly depressed. Depressed. I'm on the SSRIs. Wondering how to deal with it, right? And again, the vibe, I'm going to run down the other one as well. Right. So, I mean, the vibes here are a little bit better. And so I'm hoping that uh, I'm hoping that the new 4.5 models start to have that slight shift, right? And so very different personalities, right? So, I think part of it is for mental health. You need, obviously, through the prompt, you can change the way it talks, you can make it more psychiatric, you can do all of that. But I think it's something that's absolutely there. And I mean, I'm seeing a lot. Like, so we did a project where we did a 2,000 word prompt, which I wrote for creating a psychiatric bot worked really well, particularly once combined with a custom mental health model based out of New York. But I mean, you're seeing a lot of these coming out, and they're very nice. I don't think, however, though, that human beings are that simple. And I think, if you want a great conversation on this, I always worry about what happens to human beings when we escape our biology, right? Because a lot of the mental health stuff has less to do with the intrinsic neural networks of our brain, but just also what we experienced, hormones, wiring, all of this stuff, pain. And once you move past those chemicals, suddenly neural networks become more interesting. But I'll leave that to another day, right? Um, Anonymous attendee paid member. Yeah, if you drop a message to Outreach, they can send you a free trial, I think. So you can have a look at that if you'd like for either course. If you just drop a message to Outreach, they should be able to send you a free trial. Where is AI ethics as a career path? I think it's here now. I'm not sure how much it'll play, but I definitely think combining AI safety and ethics is a career path. And I'm teaching a class on AI ethics, and part of the problem is such a hard class to teach unless you have people in the room. Everyone thinking about this for the first time. And so I do think it's a career path going forward. I think every company, one of the things we do when we go into AI transformations, we help them come up with their AI policies, their AI philosophy and thing. And everybody has a different opinion, right? And they really need help to think this through. So I'm really hope it's going to be a big career path forward. But is it going to be a safety? Is it going to be a regulatory? Is it going to be an academic path? All three. So I'm not sure where would be the massive thing, but certainly I think regulatory and safety is something where we really need a lot more people who can think from a first principles overarching perspective. I'm a little bit worried that a lot of the safety people and ethics people, I think, too, don't have that traditional philosophical and logical underpinning when they're trying to think these matters, because it's not just about the computers, it's about the humans, and it's about the societies, and it's about the social contract. And there's us looking down 10 years, what that looks like. And having that traditional mental training, or at least exposure to the classics, where you've done this for the human condition, now you can do it for the robotic condition. I think is really important. What is something, Byron, what is something involved in Phi on a local device, PC or phone? Byron, just get Olama or something, right? So you can get Olama. That's a great one. There's a bunch of LM Studio, there's Olama. You can just download them and just run them. And it's just about the speed of depending on your CPU, GPU, and what you have. I mean, it's not going to be optimized, but yeah, I mean, on your PC, you can pretty much download it right now and run it. It'll just run on your CPU. Again, it won't be like super fast, but you can run Phi fairly within like 10 minutes. You can run most of the models locally. You can even run the Llama 70B, and I have mine running somewhere. I'm not sure where I kept it, but you can actually run those very well. In fact, I'm going to try to see if I have it. And I'll run it in the background, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And oh yeah, here we go. Here, and I hope I have it running for me. This is I haven't, so this is sort of Olama running, and this is the old Phi model. And new fun fact and fun, and this is just like a standard 1-year-old MacBook. Obviously, it is going to be very, very slow, just because there's no optimizations running and all of this, and it might take a time to load. It has to load the entire model in the memory, but it's that simple. You just download Olama, you get one of these things, and hopefully, you can start running. And there we go, and it starts to slowly run, and so you can get a big thing there. But I mean, I can even run the 70 billion model. That was a fun one. And let's run the 70 billion Llama 3. And this is a ChatGPT 4 class model. It's just going to take forever to run. And I'll answer more questions while we wait for this thing to run. So, I mean, these can be run on your computers, particularly the new Mac chips who have AI do seem to have an inference advantage. You can find how to run 5 Mac minis together. It's just not cost effective. It's not speed. And we've definitely worked with clients right now who want local inference, and we're trying to get them hardware to run this. I mean, I just wait a year, honestly. If you need local inference, the 4 or 5 companies you're tracking do it really cheap and really well. And so I'm expecting localized inference servers or sticks and all to be there very soon. I mean, this is things going to take forever. So we're going to I'll keep going for questions and we'll get to it. Favorite AI app these days, Jose? It depends for what. I'm honestly using more and more everything. I think O1 Pro has just become standard for me. Grok 3 is insane. Happy to in the after hours. Oh, and look, it started doing the inference, and you can start running. To do it, I think Grok 3 is saying, please try it in unhinged mode. I am not going to do this on this webinar. Every time I've tried it on unhinged mode, it has been hilarious, funny, and we've had to leave the room. So yeah, please try it. Pedro, what's the best free Gen AI for business today? I'm going to say Grok 3. Between Mistral and Grok 3, Grok 3 because it gives you access to deep search and think, and it's free for now. I don't know when they're going to start charging it, but if you need a free large language model that really rocks it and is unlimited, Grok 3 is probably your best bet. It's probably going to start later, and that's Grok with a K, not with a Q. But obviously, ChatGPT also has a lot of free inference stances as well. Mistral has got a big upgrade and its free version, so I would try that as well. But Grok 3, make sure to turn on the privacy settings. Michael Spiegel for if you want to do a retail network, want to do one for auto, happy to do auto. Drop me an email, drop me a WhatsApp. Everybody in my peer has my number, and you can just drop me at outreach@vjal.ai as well. Very happy to do one. Auto is great. I ran a used car dealership for 2 years, 20 years ago, and we've had various insights into the auto manufacturing as well. So for better or worse, there's some awesome stuff that you can do with automotive that we can try deep diving if it makes sense. Last couple of questions. Will AI agents of the future be built by big LLM companies where other new customers still have a chance? Rashmi, it's all over the place, right? So I compare agents and models like I see the CRM or the ERP market, right? You have a couple of large players, but there's not one or two. There's usually like 30, 40, 50, and they're competing on industry, distribution, price, how they can get customers and all. And then you have lots of small CRM ERPs everywhere, which are going after niches, which are sort of going after a few customers. And it's cheap enough to build one. You get 100 customers and you have a CRM business because you can sustain the development. And they're very happy because they get a very customized system that they love. So current trajectory, it's going to be a very open market. I think there'll be thousands and thousands of companies, if not hundreds of thousands of companies. I think the only I think the only change that I think, which is the Black Swan event, which might happen is if, in 2002 when Transformers came, it was an absolute game changer, right? The world changed. Everybody was in shock. All the work people had done on big data and NLP and all of that just went into the dustbin, right? And we saw today, and I didn't spend too much time on it because, I'm not seeing enough of it being available, but we now have diffusion LLMs, we have inversion LLMs, rain, back, a whole bunch of other ones that have come out, right? I think the big black swan moment is that if somebody like the Transformers discovers an absolute new model, right, an absolutely new way of doing it, which is just dramatically over the top AGI level, and they're able to run it cheap enough that they're able to just grab market share like anything. And I think that's the one danger. And if that is proprietary, if that's not open source, I think that's when you might have the big companies. But there's no moat. I mean, DeepSeek built this stuff out. Alibaba is building out. There'll be an LLM. There'll be fine-tuning opportunities. In about a year, 2 years, 3 years, I suspect every kid in a computer science class will be building an LLM, as part of their training. It might not be a big one. It might not be a crazy one, but they'll be easy. They're off-the-shelf platform tools for building LLMs that are going to come out. So I don't see that there being a moat right now, but I do see a moat if there is a genuine black swan. And again, industry specific moats on enterprise and all, but that's, like I said, that's like CRM, ERP, accounting systems. There are a few big ones, lots of open source ones, and there's a new one that comes up every 5 minutes. So I still think there's room. The only thing what I would be worried about is just note that, it is definitely a very competitive and dynamic marketplace. So unless you're really going after a USP, and we have a startup investing framework, which we use when we're judging, will this startup survive or not survive in the next 5 years of LLMs? And one of the big ones that we really look at is how niche and well-defined what they're going after is. And the more niche and the most well-defined and the most specific, we know they're going to make money. Now, we don't know if they're going to blow up, but we know we're going to make money, right? So that's always a good thing. Thank you. I think we have some last questions. Michael, they're in the Q&A tab. You can see those, right? And I'm just going to, answer. If you can't see them, I'll start answering them live, and you'll start seeing the answered questions there. But that's there. Any app good for renderings, Architect, Ketchup, AutoCAD, Blender rendering? There is I covered this in the last one, and Genesis Stanford is, I'll find it again, but we could call Genesis model for interior simulation, and that's sort of. No, I'm finding random companies. I'll find it from the last one. I'll send it out. But there's a model called Genesis which came out, which it was groundbreaking because it created for training robots in real world environments, and what it ended up being was one of perhaps the best interiors and CAD and all that models on earth. Now they're still chasing it down for its original purpose, but that one I thought was a big. If you ask me, that was the real mic drop of the end of last year rather than the video models. And the second one is, of course, ZooDev, which has an AutoCAD system. And I think the AutoCAD system is, which is right now used for CNC machining. But what they did was they rewrote CAD program from scratch. And because they used a CAD program from scratch, you're seeing their ability to actually genuinely use CAD using the models. And I'm going to sort of, oh yeah, here we go. Just show this to you. I was no wonder I was doing the Genesis. Right, it's a full 40 physics engine. And obviously, one of the things that they can do really is being able to, let me find the Genesis Stanford. Anyway, you get what I mean. But primarily, they're able to really sort of do things for interiors and CAD. This is a big world to this. I will say, please use floor plans and the vision models. Those are fantastic. Absolutely fantastic for optimizations, relooking at what you're doing, making sure it's as per this. In the AI for construction and real estate class, one of the big things that we do is we take a lot of the RFPs, we take a lot of the municipal regulations, and we really figure out how to rework that in a way that works really well for what you're building out. And I think that audit part is really, really good right now. And the CAD part, I'm just waiting for someone like ZooDev to rebuild that for architecture. And I know 2 or 3 companies are chasing this down. They're in stealth mode, they're okay. By the end of the year, you should have fantastic diagrams for this. And Byron just gave me a link. Jen Sense that it come in. Anyway, no, this is the Genesis thing there. Service rendering now. That's it's a Genesis with a sys. Let me, you know what? Okay, since we're here, let me just share my screen and see if I can show you the video. And this is a full render made by it, and I had it in my last class. Jose, thanks for updating that they're charging for a deep search super grok. I think they still give a free tier though, so please use that. But that's sad to hear that they're now fully charging for it as well. I think some markets it's still free though. And I mean, this is full sort of physics accurate 3D modeling that we are seeing. And again, it's all prompted, put this, change this, do this, and it's absolutely wild. It's fully open source. And obviously it's not accessible that easily to all of us, but it's absolutely absolutely scary on how they were doing it for robots, and now it's going to completely change architecture. But the physics accuracy is what's driving a lot of the stuff, right? You take a wrecking ball and you whack the building sort of collapse in a physics accurate way. I think that's what's scary a little bit, but it's also what's driving the change. Perfect, guys. I think we're coming to a close. We've gone over time, but I thought questions were fantastic. Happy to answer more questions, and the office hours, drop me an email, drop me a WhatsApp. Great to connect. And please don't forget to FAFO, fool around and figure it out. The more you use AI, the better you're going to get at it. And the best way to learn AI is to do it with your own hands. And if you're not a member, become a member. And if you happen to be able to come over in Dubai, please attend the in-person classes. It's going to be absolutely lovely. It's version 3.0, and it's going to be all of this stuff that we're looking at, but done live and hands-on. Thank you, and have a great morning, evening, and afternoon.